Hi everyone, my name is Anna Mutsu and today we'll be going over the first PowerPoint for this course, which is Unit 1, the Greek language. As you may have seen by scrolling through the course, we're going to be covering three main areas regarding the Greek language. The first one is going to be the one you're seeing in front of you, which is learning the letters of the Greek alphabet. In the next PowerPoint presentation, we're going to be going over the numbers as we use them in Greek, and the last and final part of this course, of this unit in particular, would have to be learning useful Greek phrases that you're going to be using on an everyday basis when you are in Greece. Before we begin going over this PowerPoint, it is very important to tell you that everything we're covering on these lectures, you're going to find them on the ebook that we have uploaded for you called Learning the Greek Language. So let's begin with the Greek letters. Now, we know that this course is not as extensive as somebody might have wanted, but it will give you the basics. It will give you the basic knowledge and information so that you're able to read and navigate and write some basics regarding Greek. So what we're going to be seeing today, as you see on the PowerPoint slide in front of you, are the Greek letters, the Greek alphabet. We'll learn what is a simple and a two-letter vowel in the Greek alphabet. We will then go on and learn the simple, the double, and the two-letter consonants that we use in Greek. And then we're going to be seeing combinations of the above. It might seem like a lot of information, but it is really important that you study them and spend quite some time going over this information on your own to better accelerate your learning pace. Okay, so let's get started then. Now, the first thing we're going to be learning in Greek are the Greek vowels, right? Vowels in Greek are called phonienta, phonienta. As you can see in the parentheses that I have on the title of the PowerPoint slide in front of you, I will be using this often from now on, right? So in parentheses, I will be writing the words in Greek using Latin characters, so I can help you in understanding how you're supposed to pronounce the words that we see in front of us. So let's go over the vowels. Phonienta. The Greek language has 7 major vowels. So let's go over how each one of them sounds. Now, the first vowel, as you can see here on the screen, maybe I can use my highlighter to show you better, is the equivalent to the letter A in the English language. The sound of the letter A in Greek is A, A. On the left, you will see the uppercase A, and on the right, you will see the lowercase A. It's exactly the same as we use it in English. When the sentence begins with the letter A or A, we use its uppercase. When it's within a word or within the sentence, we use the lowercase form of the letter. Now, on the right side, as you can see, I have some words in English so that you can really nail down how the vowels sound in Greek. So the sound is A, as we say in bat. A, A. Okay, so that's the first vowel. Now, the second kind of vowel is the one, as you can see on the second line here, that makes the sound E, E, as in fatigue, E. Now, one of the things in Greek that we do not have in the English language, for example, is that we have 3 different kinds of E sounds. So we have 3 kinds of vowels that make the E sound when we sing them in a word. Okay, so this is one kind of E. The second kind of E, which is very close to the one we use in English, right? And the third kind of E. You can see it's uppercase form and it's lowercase. So far we have A, then we have E. The third kind of vowel, as you can see on the third line on your PowerPoint slide, is E. E. It's the E in English, but in Greek we don't say E, we say E. E as in pen, pen. The E sound that you hear in the word pen is the one that we say when we see this kind of vowel in the Greek language. So E. This is the uppercase E and the lowercase E. It sounds like that's one of the most common things you might be getting wrong in the beginning. The lowercase E looks like a mirrored 3. Okay, so make sure you write it well. It's a usual mistake that happens in the beginning with people who are learning Greek. So we have A, E, 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 and E. Now, the last sound that remains from the vowels is O, O. And as in the case of E, where as we saw, we have 3 different kinds of E sounds, it's kind of similar with the O sound, as we have two vowels that when we see them, they make the O sound. Okay, so we have O, 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 O. You may recognize the second O is the one we called omega or omega, as you may have seen it in English texts. So here the O is as in lofty, O, O, not O, O. So A, E, O. I suggest you spend some time writing down these vowels. I think it will be very good for you to start letting your hands getting used to how we write the uppercase and the lowercase versions of the 7 vowels of the Greek language. Okay, so I assume you must have taken some time to learn the 7 vowels in the Greek language, because now it is time for a quick exercise. Okay, so in this exercise, we're going to be trying and match the vowels in lowercase with their pair in uppercase. So we have 7 lowercase vowels on the top, 7 uppercase vowels on the bottom, and my suggestion to you is to pause the recording, pause the video, write this down on a piece of paper, and using arrows, try to connect the correct pairs together. Of course, we'll be going over it together as well, so you know which are the correct answers. Okay, so let's see the correct responses. I will be using my marker to show you which are the correct ones. Now let's begin with the first letter, which, as we said before, sounds like this. A. A. This is the lowercase a, and the uppercase a is this one. So the first correct combination that you should be getting is this. Now, the second letter, as we can see, is one of the 3 kinds of E sounds that we have in Greek. So this is E. Okay. Its uppercase equivalent is all the way to the right here. E. Okay, so this is our next pair. Then we also have another E sound. Okay, I have laid them in a good order without realizing it. So this is the second E sound that we have in Greek, and its uppercase equivalent is this guy over here. So uppercase E is this. The next on the line is the third E, E. Okay, maybe this is easier for you because it's quite similar to the one we use in English, and its uppercase equivalent is this, E. Next on the line, we have O, O. This is the lowercase o, and as you may have guessed already, this is its uppercase equivalent, O. Next, we have, let's pick another color, another O. This is the omega, omega. Okay, it's the second kind of O that we have in the Greek language. And its uppercase equivalent is all the way to the left here, so O. And of course, last but not least, we have E, the E sound, the lowercase e, which matches to its correct uppercase pair, E. It's a good way for you to learn the pairs so you can distinguish them when you see them in text from now on, and of course learn to write them. Spend some time learning the vowels because things might get a bit more complicated as we go forward. Now, before we go on and see the rest of the Greek vowels and how we use them in Greek, I think it is really important to make this note. And this is that the Greek language has an accent. Okay, unlike English, where we stress the word, the accent of the word is not present. Okay, Greek is similar to French, for example, where we use accents. The accent helps us understand where we must stress the word when we're reading it or speaking it or trying to write it down. Okay, so the accent will look a little something like this, as you can see on the right hand side. So what I have done for you is give you the 7 vowels that we learned before and show you how they look with an accent. The accent is a small straight line starting from the top right going downwards towards the left, and it is on the top left of the uppercase vowels. As you can see, let me use my marker. When it is an uppercase letter, you will see that the accent goes on the top left, top left, top left, top left, and so on. When the accent is placed on the lowercase letter, just place it as a small line or dot on the top, as you can see. So, in this slide, you're able to see how a, I, e, o are written when they are used with an accent. It is really important to remember that when you see a Greek word that has 2 or more vowels in it, the accent will help you understand where you're supposed to stress the word when you pronounce it. Let's use this word here as an example, language. When we say the word language, we stress the letter A, right? Because it's not language or languagi, right? It's language. How do we know? In English, it's just pure memorization. If we were to write this in Greek, we would say that language, since it has to be stressed on this vowel, we use a small accent to indicate it. Okay, so it would be written as language. Okay, so now we know where we are supposed to stress the word. So if we were to stress this sentence on the top, we would go like this. The Greek language has an accent, right? Accent, not accent, accent. It's a very quick and easy way for you to know how to stress the words you see in English sentences, okay? So this is all regarding the accent of the Greek language. Now let's make things a bit more interesting. As we saw before, we covered 7 vowels that make 4 general sounds. The sound A, the sound I, the sound O, and the sound E. Now, in the Greek language, we have something called double vowels. Okay, so in Greek, only in the following cases, when the 2 vowels that I'm going to show you are next to each other in a word, they make one unified sound. So let's see them one by one. The first is, as you can see, this combination here, which is the combination of the vowels E and I, uppercase and lowercase. When E and I are next to each other, instead of making the sound A, they make the sound I. So when you see E and I next to each other, the sound is I, as in fatigue. The same goes for O and I. O, I, when you see them together, instead of making the sound OI, they make the sound I. Okay, so I and I. So except the three kind of E sounds that we saw before, we have these additional two that make the sound E. The next double vowel that we see is A and E placed together. Okay, they're uppercase and their lowercase version. When A and E are placed together, they make the sound E as in pen. So we have another way of writing down the E sound. Now, a point that I want to make here is that whether you have, for you to know which of the E or the E vowels you have to use, right, whether the single vowels or the double vowels, is a matter of vocabulary. So when you learn Greek words, you just have to memorize which of the E or which of the E sounds you're supposed to be writing down. Okay, now the last one is a new unique sound that we have not seen so far. And this is the combination of this O and this E sound. Now be careful, we saw another E here, but this makes an E sound altogether. When you see this kind of E with an O next to it, it makes the sound U. It's like the OU maybe in English, if you try to Romanize a Greek last name, for example. So O and E together make U, like lubricant or look. These are double vowels, so even though they're two letters, two vowels next to each other, they make one unified sound. Please take some time to write them down and pronounce them on your own. Okay, now that we have gone over all the vowels that we use in the Greek alphabet, let's do a quick overview, a quick summary of what we have learned so far. Now, as we said, first we have the A sound, the A letter, A. It sounds A as in bat. And then we have 5 types of E sounds. The first one, the second, the third, which are on their own, they stand alone as separate vowels, and then we have the 2 combinations that we saw before. E and E, which make E, O and E, which make E again. In all of these cases, the sound we have is E, as in fatigue. Then we have the E sound, which comes in 2 forms, the single E, capital and lowercase, and the combination of A and E, which make E. They sound E as in pen. The fourth kind of sound that we have is the O sound. As we said, we have 2 types of O sounds, the Omicron and the Omega. We will go over the names of the letters of the alphabet at the end of the presentation. Now I just want you to focus on the sounds that they make. So O and O. O as in lofty. And the final new sound that we learned is the U sound, U as in look or lubricant, which comes through the combination of the letter O and the letter E, this kind of E, Y. Okay, so O and E make U. Okay, and now it is time for our exercise to finalize the section around the vowels. What I want you to do is take some time and write down from memory the 5 types of E sounds that we have in the Greek language, using both the uppercase and the lowercase versions. After you finish with the E, I want you to write down the 2 types of O sounds that we have in Greek, and finally, when you finish, go on and do the 2 E sounds. Take some time to write them down, and then we will go over the correct answers together. Okay, I assume you have taken some time to write them down. So here are the correct responses to the exercise I showed you in the previous slide. Now, the 5 E sounds are, let me get my laser point pen, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 kinds of E sounds. 3 of them are simple vowels, 2 of them are the double ones that we saw before. The 2 O sounds are these simple vowels again, and the 2 E sounds are these 2. one simple, one double. Okay, now that we have covered the basic vowels of the Greek alphabet and the Greek language, it's time to get more serious and see the consonants. The consonants in Greek are called symphona, symphona, as you can see on the parenthesis on the title of the PowerPoint slide. Now, we will begin with simple consonants, which is a single letter. Okay, let's go over the simple consonants of the Greek language, which are 15 in total. It is important to understand that the Greek language, the Greek alphabet, has 24 letters. Okay, let's see the 15 consonants that we're using in Greek. Let me use my laser pointer as I think it would be easier to go over the consonants. Now, the first one is this one on the top left here, and this makes the sound V. V is what you have maybe heard before as beta. Okay, the correct pronunciation is vita, as we will see at the end of the presentation. So, this is the uppercase V, and this is the lowercase v. The sound, as we said, is V, as in voice. Okay, so V. The next consonant is this one here. It looks like a triangle. This is the capital, and this is the lowercase, and the sound they make is th. Th. Try to put your tongue between your teeth and exhale. The sound is th, as in them, them. Try pronouncing th. The next consonant looks like the Z we have in the English alphabet, but the sound we make in Greek is z, z. The capital Z and the lowercase. Z as in zebra. The next letter, the next consonant, is the one here on the bottom left. And this sound is th, 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 as in thick. This is the capital th, and this is the lowercase th. Let's go on the top right. This is the L sound, L, lambda, as you may have heard it. L, the capital L, and the lowercase l. L as in live, live. Then comes the M and the N, which the uppercase is similar as in English. So the sound is M, M. Uppercase, lowercase. M as in meat, meat. And then we have the N sound, uppercase and lowercase. N, N. N, N as in need, meat, need. M, N. And then the final consonant for this slide is the P, P, the P sound, okay, the capital P and the lowercase p. P as in peep. Okay, I know it's a lot of information, but try to write them down and repeat the pronunciation as I told you so previously. Let's go over them quickly one more time. So we have V, th, z, th, l, m, n, p. Okay? Voice, them, zebra. Thick, live, meet, need, peep. Okay, now let's continue with the final 7 consonants of the Greek alphabet. I will go through the same process as we did before, where I'm going to be showing you and pronouncing the sound of the letter. Now, the next consonant, as you can see here, is the sound R. R. It's the R sound, as we say in English. R, capital and lowercase. R as in run, run. Then we have the S sound, S. Okay, capital, lowercase, and this S that you see here that looks like a little worm, it's actually a very specific case, as we will see, where, let me show you the text, when the S is at the end of the word, okay, we write it as S in this way. Okay, so when a word ends in S, this is how you should be writing it. And you will be seeing it all the time, so it's very important that you learn it. So S as in soft. The next consonant is T, T, capital and lowercase. T as in T. The next consonant is this one here, and it sounds like F, F, F as in fox, fox, the capital and the lowercase form. Then on the upper right hand side, we see R, R. This is a particular sound, it's the gamma, as you may have heard English users say it. It's a Y, Y, year. You might hear it as R or Y, depending on what comes next, which vowel comes next or other consonant. Then we have it's the same as we have the X in the English language. This is H, 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 he. H as in happy, happy. Okay, and then the final simple consonant that we have is the K, which is very familiar to you. K, K as in key, key. Maybe some of you have guessed it already, but if you add up the 15 consonants that we have seen so far and the 7 vowels that we have also seen, it does not exactly add up to 24. This is because we are missing a couple of letters, which we will see later on. These are the double consonants, as we will see. But for now, what is the most important thing to do is to practice reading syllables. What is a syllable? A syllable is the combination of a consonant and a vowel. And what you have in front of you is a big table that combines some of the consonants we saw before, like T, F, M, V, Th, K, S, N, V, R, and R. And each of these consonants is combined with all the vowels that we have seen already. The A vowels, the E sounding vowels, the O, the I, and the U. And this table is a very good starter guide for you to see how we write down syllables. So let's try reading and pronouncing them, and I strongly suggest you take some time and write the table down on a piece of paper. So let's begin with the first column, which is T, T. So we have ta, te, to, ti, tu. Let's move on to the next column. We have the F, F, fa, fe, fo, fi, fu. Maybe you can try doing it before I move on. Try the next column on your own. M, ma, me, mo, mi, mu. There's a typo there. It should be an E like this one. On the fourth column, we have V. So va, ve, vo, vi, vu. Th, th, fa, fe, fo, fi, thu. Then we have the K sound. Ka, ke, ko, ki, ku. S sound. Sa, se, so, si, su. Then the N, na, ne, no, ni, nu. Then the, tha, ve, tho, vi, thu. We're almost there. The next is the r sound, like yelling at somebody. Year. Ra, ye, ro, yi, ru. Okay, and the final consonant for this table is the r, the R sound. R. Okay, like raptor. ra, re, ro, ri, ru. Please do take some time and do it on your own. The more you do it, the more comfortable you will feel with the syllables. Okay, now, as I told you in the previous slide, we had 22 letters that we had gone over out of the total of 24 that we have in the Greek alphabet. And this is why the last two letters that we're going to go over are kind of special because they are called double consonants. What does that mean? They are called double consonants because they sound, okay, they sound like two consonants put together. So they are written in a specific way, but their sound is the mix of two other consonants. So let's see. The first letter that we're going to see is this one, which has the sound ks, ks. As you can see, it is a double consonant because it is the combination of K and S, ks, as in the word beaks. So ks is the combination of K and S, of K and S, ks. Similarly, the second double consonant and the final letter of the Greek alphabet is the one that is the combination of the P, 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 and S, P and S. So, ps, ps, capital and lowercase. The sound is as in the word shops, shops. So it's the combination of P and S. So if we were to pronounce it, right, let's read the syllables together, okay, aloud. We have ksa, ksa, here, ksa. Then on the next one is ps, psa, ksa, psa, kso, pso, kse, pse, ksi, psi, ksu, psu. Okay, it sounds like a spell almost, but it's one of the best ways for you to learn the consonants. So, thus far, we have been able to cover all the letters of the Greek alphabet. Yay, we did it! So we have 7 vowels, as we said. We saw their combinations, okay, that make the E or the E sounds, okay, and the U, which are combinations of vowels. And then we saw all the other of the consonants, okay, from the simple ones to the 2 double ones we saw now. Let's see what the next slide has in store for us because we have one more final thing to go over regarding the Greek alphabet. So, let's see what the Greek language still has in store for us. The next thing we're going to go over is what we call 2-letter consonants. Okay, and this is why Greek has an additional 6 consonants which consist of 2 letters, of 2 consonants. Okay, this means that when those 2 consonants are next to each other, they make a unique combined sound. Okay, so let's try and see what they look and what they sound like. It is important to say here that unlike the other 2 consonants that we saw before, I will write them here using my marker, excuse the bad letters. So unlike the ks and the ps that we saw previously, there's a difference here because ks and ps may sound like the combination of 2 letters, but they are actually written with their own symbol. Here, what we're going to see is the actual combination of 2 consonants, which when placed next to each other, make a specific sound. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and one of them has a second one, that's why I said 6, 2-letter combinations. Let's see them. The first combination we're going to see is the M and the P sound put together. When you see those 2 letters together, they sound like B, B, B as in beat, or bar, or bat. Okay, B. Next we have the N and the T placed together. together. When these two consonants are placed together, they make the sound D, D, as in dog. Okay, D, B, and D. The third combination we're going to see are basically two combinations, to be honest, as you can see here on the third line that I have written down for you, and that is the combination of the R and the K, or you see two R next to each other, R. Whether you see this combination or this combination, the sound that comes up is G, G, as in go or get, G. So R and K or double R make G, G when placed together. The next one is the T and the S sound. T and S together sound like T, T, T as in it's going to be okay, T. So let's do a quick recap of what we have done so far, and then we will see the final sound, the final two-letter consonant. We have B, D, G, and T, T. The final combination that we will see in the Greek language is the letters T and Z. T and Z, when placed together, sound like Z, Z, like the word beads, beads, Z, Z, Z. Okay, so B, D, G, T, Z. Okay, now that we have learned the double consonants of the Greek language, let's try reading aloud the following syllables. I would prefer it if I say them and then you repeat them after me. The more times you do this, the more comfortable you will feel recognizing these syllables when you see them in the future. So let's try with the first line, which is the vowel O. Go, do, bo, to, jo. Let me get my laser point out so it can be easier for everybody to see what I'm pronouncing. So as we said, go, do, bo, cho, jo. Then with the e sound, ge, de, be, che, je. Maybe there's a small, might be difficult sometimes to distinguish between the t, s, and the t, z. So t and z. It's something that you will get used to the more you listen to Greek people speaking. So te and je. Then we move on to the e sound. Yi, di, bi, ti, ji. Then a, ga, da, ba, cha, ja. And then the final, which is a double vowel, as we said before, that makes the sound u, u. We have gu, du, bu, chu, and ju. Okay, now this is the first real kind of practice or exercise we have, where we're going to be trying and reading and repeating the words that we have in front of us. So what I have here is 10 words for you, and I have written them down with the first letter being a capital, so just the first one being a capital letter, all lowercase and all uppercase. One of the reasons why I have written this down for you is because, as you can see, we have an accent here at the O sound. We talked about the accent before. But we do not see an accent when we write in capital letters. And that is a rule that you should remember when you write a capital with capital letters. When you use capital or uppercase Greek letters, you do not use the accent. The only case where you will use them is when the word begins with a vowel and the accent happens to be on the first word. This is the last example here, as you can see, where it just so happens that the first letter of this word is a vowel, it is e, and it also happens to be the place where we accent the word, where we stress it. So this would be έξυπνος, έξυπνος. So in this case, we use the accent on a capital letter. That is the only case where we make that exception. If not, if the letter does not begin with a vowel that has an accent, then we do not use an accent, okay, on the capital letters at all. So let's try and pronounce the words that we have in front of us. I will switch to a highlighter so I can help you see better what I will be reading. So this word, okay, it has 2 syllables, okay, and it means the word bad or evil in English, okay. And as you can see, we have a k and an a sound, and that's the first syllable of the word. So the first syllable is ka. The second syllable is again a k and o with an accent, so we know where to stress the word. And this is, if you remember, the S sound, and that's the form it takes when it is at the end of a word. So altogether, it sounds like this. Kakos, kakos. It means it's an adjective referring to a person who is bad or evil. Kakos. The opposite, which means good, okay, a good person, the adjective pertaining to good, is kalos, kalos. The spelling is exactly the same. The only difference is that we have an L, lambda letter here. So, kalos, kalos. It means good, to be good. Let's move on to the next word, which also happens to be an adjective. And it means to be tall, tall, to be of a high height. Okay, tall. As you can see, we have ps, we have e. So the first syllable is psi. Then we have l, o, and s. So los, the second syllable. Altogether, psilos, psilos. Psilos is a person who is tall. Okay. The fourth one is the capital of Greece, which is Athens. So the word here is Athens. Let's try and read it out in Greek. So we have a, th, e that has the stress, the accent, okay, n, a. So if we try to pronounce it all together, Athena, Athena. Athena and Athens are quite close, so it might be easy for you. Okay, Athena. It's the capital of Greece. The next word is one other city in Greece. It's the third largest actually in Greece. And let's see how we call this city. Now, here we have a bit of a more difficult reading task because we have the first syllable, which is p, p, and a, so pa, and then we have 2 consonants next to each other, and it's t and r. So together we have tr, tr. So altogether, patra, patra. In English, we call it Patras, Patras. So Patra is another city. It's the name of another city located in Greece. Let's move on to the next word on the top right, and this is a noun, okay? And it's the word, the Greek word for wind, wind. The wind is blowing, okay? So let's try to read it. Here we have 2 vowels next to each other, right? We have a and we have e, but we know where we stress the word, so it's ae, ae. Then we have the r sound, r, a, s. So altogether is aeras, aeras. It may sound familiar because in English we have a lot of words that begin with the word aeras. For example, aerodynamics. Okay, the first half of that word comes from the Greek word aeras, which means wind. Okay, so in lowercase and in uppercase, aeras. Then we have this word, which means the beach. Okay, let's go to the beach. Okay, now it's summertime. It would be a good time to be at the beach. So let's try to pronounce it. We have 3 syllables here. Let's begin. We have p, a, so pa. Then we have r and a, ra. And then we have an l, I, and a. We see where the accent is. So altogether is paralia. Paralia. It's the beach in Greek. Paralia. Then let's move on to this word, which has another unique thing about it, where it has 2 consonants of the same type next to each other. Now, this word means leaf, okay, or a piece of paper. We use the same word in English to describe both of those things. Now, when you see 2 consonants next to each other who are the same, 2 L's next to each other, 2 K's next to each other, 2 P's next to each other, then you just pronounce them as if there is only one L. Okay, so it's just L. So let's try to pronounce it. It's F, I, L, and O. So altogether is filo, filo. Okay. Now, unfortunately, there's no way for you to remember when a word needs, there's no rule, that can tell you when a word needs 2 L's or 1 L. It's a matter of vocabulary and memorizing the correct spelling of the word. Okay, so as time passes, you will be more able to remember how we spell each word separately. Let's move on to the next one, which is this word that means tree. A tree. Okay, let's see what it is, what it consists of, because it looks a bit complicated, but I promise you it's not difficult. One of the things that you may notice if you take a closer look at this word is that it has, let's see, 1, 2, and 3 consonants next to each other. But what have we learned before? We saw that when you have the n and the t next to each other, right, the sound is d, as in dog. So we have the, e, d, r, and o. So altogether it sounds like vedro, vendro. This is the tree. This means a tree. Okay, it's a bit more difficult to pronounce because we have 3 consonants next to each other. Remember, the first 2 make a combined sound, vendro. And the last word that we'll be saying today is another adjective, which in English means smart, smart. Okay, and here we have a word beginning with e, and the accent is here as well, e. Then we have x, then we have I, then we have 2 consonants next to each other, p and n, so pn, pn. Okay, o and s. So altogether it sounds like exipnos, exipnos. It means to be smart. Of course, this is just a very small collection of Greek words, but my main point is for you to listen and understand how we pronounce them and how we go about understanding where the accent is and how the consonants are built in together. So spend some time to listen to my recording and repeat the words after me. I think it would be very, very good for you to start getting used to how we speak in Greek. Okay, now the final slide for this section is this, and it's one of the most difficult things in the Greek alphabet and learning the syllables and how to pronounce Greek words. And that is because so far we have seen how 2 vowels, when placed next to each other, make a distinct sound, a new sound that is also a vowel. For example, we saw, let me try in writing it, we saw how a and I make e. We saw how o and I make I, how e and I also make I, and how O, and E make U. Okay, U sound. Now, the only difference here, there's a special case for these two vowels. Okay, so A, and E, Y, this specific kind of E. Okay, so when these two are placed next to each other, maybe somebody would say that the normal thing to do is to pronounce them as I or AI. Now, they're kind of a special pair because when these two vowels are placed next to each other, they will make a specific new sound, a new noise, depending on the consonant that comes after them. So let's see what I'm talking about in a bit more detail. So there are two cases that you will see A and E placed together. And that is the first case. Let's see here, number one. When you see these two vowels next to each other, before the consonants K, Ks, P, S, T, F, H, and G, okay. When you see them before this group of consonants, then the sound they make is af, as in after, okay. So the sound they make is af. So A and E before these consonants sound like af, okay. The same thing we said about A and E goes also, be careful, for E and E as well. So when you see E and E, okay, next to each other, as you see here, then if you see this combination of vowels before these consonants here, then they make the sound F, F as in effort. So A and E, let's change the color. So A and E and E and E, when are together and are before this group of consonants here, they make the sound AF and F respectively. So if we were to pronounce these words that I have here in the examples underneath, they would sound like this. Αυξάνω, αυξάνω. It means to increase. Εύκολος, εύκολος. Εύκολος means easy. It's an adjective meaning to be easy. Okay. Ευχαριστώ. Maybe you have already heard that word. Ευχαριστώ means thank you. And ευκαιρία. Ευκαιρία means the chance or the opportunity. Okay, so that's the first thing that I want you to remember. Now, the same combination of vowels changes how it sounds depending on the other cluster of consonants that it might come before. So as we said before, when A and E and E and E are before these consonants, they sound like AF and F. But when you see this combination of consonants before V, R, V, L, M, N, and R, okay, when you see them before these consonants, then A and E together sound like Av, like avatar, Av, okay? And if you see E and E together before these consonants, they sound like Ev, like evacuation, okay? Some words to show you the difference, okay, is αυγή, αυγή. Αυγή is the break of dawn, is the light that comes right before the sun rise. Αυγή. Αυλή, αυλή is the yard, the garden, okay. Εύνοια, that's a difficult one. Εύνοια and αυγό, αυγό, which is an egg. Okay, so just to recap everything, when A and E and E and E are before these. They sound af and F. And when they are before these group of consonants, they sound like av. Let me get my laser pointer out. Av and ev. It's a bit difficult to get used to. My suggestion would be for you to write down and try pronouncing the read aloud words that I have written down for you. Okay, and sure, as time goes by, you will be more able and capable of distinguishing the combination of vowels together. Now the last and final slide for this section of learning the Greek alphabet and how to read Greek words and letters. I think one of the most important steps in every language learning process is to learn the alphabet and how the letters are pronounced. Now, this is not as important compared to learning how to read, but there might be a case when you come to Greece or when you work or want to travel or visit here where people might pronounce words letter by letter. Okay, so it's important for you to know how each letter is worded, is pronounced in the Greek alphabet, because it will be easier for you to, for example, spell your own name to somebody else, right? Or ask for the, ask somebody on how a word is written, for example. Okay, so let's see one by one how we read the Greek alphabet. As we said before, the Greek alphabet has 24 letters, okay? And the order is following the numbers that I have here. So it goes like this, and then it goes back up and all the way down. From alpha to omega, and these are some words, some letters which maybe you have also heard in English. Let's see how we're supposed to pronounce them. So let's begin. Okay, let's begin. The first letter of the Greek alphabet is A, alpha. That's how we say it, alpha, alpha. I have the Latin characters on the parentheses so you can see that you're supposed to pronounce them. Although by now, as we know all the letters, all the consonants and the vowels and their combinations, you should be able to read them just by using the Greek letters here. So alpha. Then we have vita. Maybe you have heard vita as beta in English, but beta is not the correct pronunciation of the word. So instead of using B and E, I think by saying V is closer to the original pronunciation. So vita, vita. So alpha, vita. Then we have gamma, gamma. You might have heard gamma as gamma, like gamma rays, as we say in astronomy, but again, it's the wrong pronunciation. So instead of using a G sound, like gamma, I suggest you use a W. It's closer to the R sound that we use in Greek. So gamma, gamma. Okay, alpha, beta, gamma. Then delta. It's what English uses the word delta, they pronounce it as delta, delta, like the airlines, Delta Airlines. But again, it's wrong. It's the romanization of the Greek word, so the correct one is delta. So try using a TH sound to replace the D. So delta. Then epsilon, epsilon. Zeta, zeta. Eta. Theta, theta. Iota, iota. Kappa, kappa. Lambda. Lambda, you may have heard it also as lambda, lambda. Lambda is wrong because we don't have a D sound when we say lambda. So I suggest you replace it with a TH, lambda. Mi. Ni, xi. So, kappa, lambda, mi, ni, xi. Then omicron, omicron. Pi, pi, rho. Sigma, sigma. This is another one that is changed in English, and the pronunciation in English is sigma, sigma. It's not a G, as we said before, so I suggest you replace the G with a W, and you try to pronounce it as sigma, sigma. Taf, taf. Ypsilon, ypsilon. Phi, chi, psi, and omega, omega. In English, they pronounce it as omega, but it's once again wrong. So replace the G with a W as we've done previously. So try saying omega, omega. Now let's try tying it all together. It's good if you repeat the alphabet as many times as you can and try to write down and pronounce each word separately. The faster you can distinguish the Greek alphabet and the words from one another, the faster you will learn to write it and understand and communicate using it. So let's go through the alphabet together. So, alpha, vita, gamma, delta, epsilon, zeta, eta, theta, iota, kappa, lambda, mi, ni, xi, omicron, pi, rho, sigma, taf, ypsilon, phi, chi, psi, omega. And somewhere at this point marks the end of the first section of this course, which is learning the Greek language. So by doing a quick recap, what have we learned? We have learned the vowels, the consonants, how we combine them, how we read them, how we accent the Greek language, and of course we have learned the Greek alphabet. So now it is time for you to go back into the site and do the exercises that we have prepared for you for the Greek language. Then I suggest you move on to the numbers and learning how to count in Greek. So see you in the next lecture. Thank you so much.